Okay, so hello everybody. Today is Saturday, September the 23rd, and so exciting. We're going to discuss the sign of Libra today. And I'm going to just let Andre go ahead and take it away from the beginning. And so he has a lot of information to fill us in on. So Andre,
All
would you
right.
like to go ahead and take us away?
Yes, thank you, Penn. How's everybody doing today?
Wonderful.
Doing great.
All right. Like Penn said, today we're going to be studying in the zodiac sign Libra. It is that time of this. It is that time of the year where we are now into a new zodiac, and we have some birthdays that have been called out. So anytime anyone wants to, learn about their sign or anything, or just have a decent discussion about how this affects your life, I really like when we can do these things. So we're going to be studying that and seeing how those things coalesce within our lives, mentally, physically, and spiritually. And be by all means, please ask questions. And if I'm going too fast on something, just let me know. But first of all, let's just start off in prayer. Would anybody like to start off in prayer?
I can. Let's just kind of breathe in, take a couple of deep cleansing breaths. Allow ourselves to be centered and connected to Source. Because there is only one source. That source is immeasurable, immutable, all powerful, continuous. It's everywhere in everything. And so that means that source is in each and every one of us. And as we sit here via Zoom, we are connected spiritually. And through our atoms, we're connected. So as we allow this source of oneness and wholeness and all power and all presence and all knowledge to be in us, we know that we are one with each other. And as we go through today's session of understanding and knowing the signs with the sign of Libra, we're so excited about understanding from a spiritual viewpoint. Also, we're excited learning from a psychological viewpoint and how we can become better people by who we are and what we know. And with that knowledge, we can be so grateful and so thankful that all of our actions and all of our thoughts are first rooted in Source. And all of our actions and all of our notions and all of our knowledge is complete and whole. And that's the thing that we release. We release the knowledge that we have. We release the abilities that we have. We release the talents that we have. We release the creativity that we have, so that each and every movement, each and every thought, all of our actions are all part of that source. That's the part where we allow Source to be our guiding light. And with that, we say, and so it is.
And
So it is.
so it is.
So it is.
Okay, today everyone, how's it going, Forrest? Thank you for joining in. A fellow Libra in the house with Penn. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at your signs from starting from the constellation point of view. So where it is in the sky as far as what we know the stars of it. Which is
Okay.
the sign Libra is the seventh sign in the zodiac. It lies between Virgo to its east and Scorpio to its west. It was actually in Greek terms, Libra wasn't a sign. It was actually the pincers of the Scorpio. Until that changed over in astronomy, where it became its own sign for being the scales of justice, as well as that gives us, it takes us into the Greek myth of Tiresias, who was cursed by the gods to live as a man and a woman, and then at the end was asked which way was to be pleasurable. So this individual had to, live two lives as a male and a female. So there we have that balance again, and that's where we get that constellation to be a part of the scales. There are other Greek myths and things that go along with these things, but just to start off, how does anyone feel about the constellation? And have you ever actually looked and seen it as far as the scale, the constellation in the sky?
I haven't.
I haven't.
Well, honestly, I have tried to, but I can't figure. The only thing that I know, I know where Orion's belt is. I know the Big Dipper, the Little Dipper. I can recognize those constellations, and that little, what they call it, Pleiades, with the seven sisters.
Mm-hmm.
That one, that one I recognize. I guess I recognize the North Star. But to know what any of the constellations, I've never been able to figure them out. They're difficult for me to see.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Well, in that case, has anyone ever? I mean, have you ever seen the Big Dipper? Anyone else have you ever looked up and seen the Big Dipper, or know where the North Star is, or Orion's belt, or
Well,
have you ever?
the only
Years
one
ago.
that I can recall seeing, that I remember seeing and being able to identify, is the Big Dipper.
Okay. How about you, Brother Forrest?
I have years ago, but I don't remember today. But years ago I looked at it, but I don't remember.
Okay. Well, yeah, I bring that up because, like I say, the connections of what we see, it's always good for me personally, it's always good to take the time to look up, especially
Mhm.
on just a nice, peaceful night. And, we all do it. We can get so wrapped up into our world, and something's on TV, or we're doing this, and
Mhm.
you're just trying to get out of that car, and it's dusk and it's very clear outside, and you kind of take that glance at that moon to see if it's full, or or a half moon, and we kind of catch those glances. But sometimes I think we forget to look up in a higher place, just to stop and take some time to, like we used to as children, to lay on the ground and just look up and see how big things are.
Mhm.
Okay.
So anytime anyone gets the chance to do that, that would be very, I would suggest that for meditation. If you're outside doing a meditation outside, that's a great way to do it.
But how do you recognize the constellations? Like I said, I see them, but I don't know how to determine which is which.
Well, I would advise, if you don't have a telescope, it's gonna be, you're kind of just gonna be looking at stars and things like that. But I would advise anybody who is interested in this, in astrology or astronomy or space just in general, to get a star map. That's one way to be able to look at certain things and understand that while we're moving on Earth, the stars are moving because we're moving, so we're not seeing the same thing at all points in time. So I would suggest to get a star map. I would suggest to uh go into, just go and find a book on astrology or astronomy if that's your interest. But even if you don't want to go that deep and you are just in meditation, it's just a good feeling to lay back and look up, or stand up and just take some time to take deep breaths and look up and look at the stars. Whether you can say, that star is this or that. It's it's great to be able to look up and see the connection of them, and how many they are, minus the planes that get in the way.
Let me ask you, do we still, I mean, they don't have a planetarium anymore, do they? I know they used to have the planetarium over there at in the Newport News.
Near the Mariners Museum, was it?
Yeah, well, not was it I don't think it was the
I
was it
know
the
it used to be
Mariners
one in
Museum?
I know it used to be one in the Air and Space Museum, but
Yeah.
I haven't been in years, so I
Oh,
wouldn't be
that
able
might be that might be a good fun trip for us to do,
to.
so that
Yeah.
we can so that we can do it as a group. We can begin to look to see where the planets are and what they look like, and so that might be a fun group, a fun field trip for us.
I remember on one visit to the Air and Space Museum in Hampton that we were in an auditorium, and I forget now exactly, why we were there, but I was there with the kids. And when before they played whatever feature film they were going to give us that day, before that, they did show a map of the skies of the stars and kind of pointed out some things, but that was years ago, so I don't remember.
Okay, so as far as the myths that I kind of spoke upon, how do you all feel about that part of the myth that I was speaking of Tiresias being able to live to live in two separate parts of being a male and also being a female? Um, how would you as Libras um qualify the sign? Would you say it's a more male masculine sign or more of a feminine sign? Or that it's a sign that is in between. It understands both avenues.
That's what I see it as, balance. That you have your
The
masculine
balance.
energy. Sometimes that has to do with strength and power, and motivation, and then we have our feminine side that also needs to be balanced, where we might need rest, be able to listen to effectively, for to use communication skills, and to generate fairness and love. So yeah, I think, for me, I guess it's more balanced for me, both. Oh, and
For
I
me,
just
I
looked
feel
it up, but we do have a planetarium in Newport News, Virginia. So I'm seeing field trip, y'all.
And to piggyback on that, I just checked with the Air and Space Museum. Their tickets to go there are $22.50. Just to give you a heads up.
This is the Abbott Planetarium Theater. That's in Newport News, Virginia.
Oh, okay. Does it say exactly where it is? Did it give an address?
We'll get it. We'll get that later.
Okay.
Yeah, we can find that later.
Yeah, Forrest, you were about to say something?
feel that I do have a very masculine, but also feminine also. So I can relate to both of those, because I feel I am masculine and feminine, and I embrace both.
Okay. And Miss Harriet, what sign are you? Just question.
Sagittarius.
Oh, Sagittarius. All right. You and Nadia, wild ones.
Excuse me.
Wild ones.
We're not wild. We're just
Anyway,
We're just
anyway,
innocent
we'll talk about that.
children.
We'll talk about that between November and December.
Okay.
We'll get there.
It's
But
just innocent children that were right on your walls.
exactly.
And I also want to say my drag name is Vicky Vox.
Vicky Lots,
Vicky Vox.
Okay,
Vicky
so
Box.
you even have a feminine part of a personality. Okay, so I understand
Yes.
that with you with being a Libra. That's where I want to go next. But I also want to ask, how does it make you feel when you know that, which we all know our signs in some shape, form, or fashion, but the picture of your sign, you seeing your sign as being a scale, how does that internally make you all produce, or how do you relate to that?
Well, for me, I picture the scales more easily than I do, that sign that goes straight and then there goes that hump and over there, that kind of like
Mhm.
omega sign and the
Mm.
line at the bottom. I think I picture the scales because there are times when, like I said, oh my gosh, I am really, really out of balance. And then I kind of have to go back to what triggered this flip flop, the imbalance, and and what it might take for me to be balanced. Sometimes it just might be time. Sometimes it might be meditation. Sometimes it might take an effort, But I'm so seeing it as a scale is much easier and much better for me.
All right. And Forrest, and how about you, Forrest? You may not can hear me right now.
Mhm.
Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. Well, Forrest he might have technical difficulties. Miss
Mhm.
Harriet, we'll just move on to you real quick. How do you see the importance of the visual of the sign of the scale and the sign of Libra and that being attached with you being a Sagittarius?
When I see it, the first thing I think of is balance, as Penny just said. And when she described what they call it, glyph,
Mm-hmm.
the little omega with the line under it, I can also picture that as being balanced, because what you're seeing is that omega like sign,
Mhm.
and it's symmetrical, and
Mhm.
then the line under it showing that it is balanced, that it's not, off kilter kind of thing.
Mm. Okay. And well, again, as an Aquarius, and I was actually going to bring this up a little bit later, but it'll just be a small part. But as an Aquarius, um, the Libra is an air sign along with my sign.
Mhm.
Um, so
And
I've
Gemini.
always, along with Gemini, correct.
Mm.
And I was always prone to Libras now. And I'm just finding Gemini to be an air sign, but I'm just actually understanding that point of view as I've been studying myself.
Mm.
So like I said, we're waiting on Forrest. I would love to hear his point of view on that. So we're just gonna wait for him to come back in, but I'll continue where we left
Can
off.
I ask a question real quick?
Oh, yes.
I know I'm familiar with astrology, but I can't say that I am a student of astrology. And the one thing that I have noticed, they talk about there's 12 signs: fire, earth, air, and water. And then they talk about the signs being either cardinal, mutable, and fixed. Could you explain that, or am I jumping ahead?
Um, Well, no, that's a great question. I was just studying. I just saw a piece of that last night, and I meant to write that. Did I write that down? No, I did not write that down because I didn't want to go to. I just kind of wanted to keep it in the sign Libra.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I did see that there are four of the cardinal signs for nature. I know Leo is fire. I know Aquarius is air. I believe it's Pisces and something else, but don't quote me on that part. I would have to look that back up. I was just kind of just focusing on that part, but that is a good point because that does give us our north, south, east, and west
Mm-hmm.
um, points of views as well. I did run across a lot on Libra in yin and yang, and a lot of questions being asked was a Libra scale um, like a yin and yang, um, or which part did that play in? So it's a good study. You know, I just kind of wanted to do a quick rundown, but I will double check on that and get back with you and give you all four of them
Thank you.
of the cardinal signs. I did see them,
Mm-hmm.
and I wish I could. I wish I had two computers working right now, but I don't, because then I could type it up. But where I saw it. But yeah, you are right on that, and and that's what I kind of want us to study within our signs, which is how does your sign affect you, personally? Which, Forrest, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Hmm.
Um, okay. Back. I asked a question, and I definitely wanted to hear your answer for it.
Oh, good. I'm
Which
glad
is
to hear.
looking at the sign, as far as Libra being a scale um or mathematics in that point, how do you see yourself understanding that sign and that energy?
I think for me, when people come to me with guidance, I can go to listen to both sides and try to be in the middle to say, okay, well, what's that person? How did you play a part, and how that person played a part? So I think for me, it's keeps me balanced of people understanding that I can give them with guidance because I have the ability to look at both sides
Hmm.
before I give an answer.
Great
I
one.
just
So
like say
which
for
I
me,
which
I think I, say it again. So I think
go
that's
ahead.
how I play. Let's see. For me, I can look at both sides. So I can. That's for me, being in the middle.
Okay. Which is something that, again, now that we're all back together and I have two of you all, something that I definitely agree with. I do think that you all bring balance. I do think that you all embrace your sign completely, whether consciously or unconsciously. I don't really know too many unfair Libras. I don't. So with that being said, let's go into some of the physical part of people who have this sign of Libra, who fall under the sign of Libra. And my studies brought
Mhm.
me to this, and bear with me a little bit, but a Libra finds spirituality everywhere and may feel profound connections with nature as well with friends and family, and considers relationships a powerful way of bonding and honoring the higher power. As Libras, how do you feel about
I thought that's important. That's how I live my life. Just what that says. I can agree with everything that just said.
that? Penelope, how about you?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Oh, that wasn't a question. I was
Oh,
reading.
oh, I'm sorry.
Um,
Well, I missed it.
I'm sorry.
Vazian was
Again.
Vazian was talking to me.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I can read it again.
Okay, please.
This is about the attributes, the physical attributes as the people who fall under the sign of Libra. How do you feel about this saying? A Libra finds spirituality everywhere and may feel profound connections with nature as well as with friends and family, and considers relationships a powerful way of bonding and honoring the higher power.
Oh
How
yeah,
does
yeah. I do find spirituality in everything, and I'm really and I'm sometimes I'm awed by people who don't, and they they don't see spirituality in different things, and and they say, oh no, that doesn't have anything to do with spirit. How do you see that? And that always mystifies me. But now one thing that me as a Libra, that I guess maybe because I'm closer to I don't know what this, am I at the beginning of Libra? I'm
Yeah.
still closer to
yes?
Virgo. There's something about, I like the people that I like, but I guess because I'm a more of an introverted person. So, I want to be around a lot of people when I want to be around a lot of people. So, I don't always, I don't I don't always want to be around people. I can't say I will be honest and say I don't really not necessarily like people. I'm not really what you would call a people person, although I think I have a personality that makes people like me. And I'm always, I try to, I'm usually chipper and friendly. I mean, I think that that's part of my personality. But if I could just be by myself all the time, I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm perfectly fine with that. Although I do find myself to be very loyal. I think I'm very loyal to my friends and to my family. Um, and I want to see everybody, regardless of who it is. I want to see everybody happy. I think everybody deserves to be happy. I think everybody decides should be, treated well. I don't want to see anybody in any type of misery. So if I can stop anybody's misery or pain, whether I want to hang around them or not is a different thing. But I don't want to see them. I don't want to see them sad or hurt or harmed or I do believe that justice is for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, with that said, thank you both for that. I do want to chime in for Miss Harriet. Even though this is not our sign at this point, I know the spotlight ain't on us, but how do you? I definitely want to hear from you. Do you know any other Libras besides Penelope and Forrest? Is anyone in your family that you have been close to has it falls under this sign?
I'm trying to think, but none comes to mind right away. No, I can't.
Or a good
Wait,
friend?
no, wait, no, wait. Oh no, she's Scorpio. My cousin just recently, or I call her my half sister that just recently passed away. But she's Scorpio. But to kind of piggyback off of what Penny just said, I agree with her with that whole idea. Now, to me, I think she's just a naturally spiritual person. Whereas with me, I don't feel that I'm a naturally spiritual person, but I try to be and see spirituality in everything because that's where I want to be.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Which led me to my next point, which we kind of spoken about, uh, which that higher power that's already knowing it, making that an air sign, and me explaining that to you all, Penelope, as well as Forrest. Um, how do you feel learning that or knowing that your sign is along the sign of Aquarius and Gemini as being an air sign? I think you all explained yourself, but just to ask that question as well.
Well, I think because I have that book, the spiritual study of tarot, Kabbalah, numerology. Maybe it seems like it was something else. But anyway, that's how I found out when that Libra is an air sign. And when I thought about it, I said, well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense because we do like justice so much. So intellectualism, I think, is really valuable for us. That because we, think we are so heady, so having thoughts, thinking things through, having the information to go along with the thoughts brings things with the justice. So I'm just not going by what I think, but I go by what I go by based on not only what I think and feel, but also what I know. I think that those things are important. So, and like I said, I really don't know a lot about other signs. My daughter's a Gemini, and Gemini is supposed to be two people. Well, I think,
A
but
cousin.
That was
I
me.
mean, but she doesn't really flip flop that much. I have seen some two people before.
But I have a cousin. This is the sister to the one that I was just mentioning a little bit earlier. She was a Gemini, and she was like, you're standing in front of her and you see this warm and friendly person, and then all of a sudden she like slams the door in your face. They can flip in a minute.
Yeah.
And who else is a Gemini? You say, who else are air signs?
Aquarius.
Aquarius.
Yeah, I'm under that sign as well.
So I think I think with Aquarius, I think they too are very intellectual people. They like to read a lot. Most of the Aquariuses I know, they do read a lot. So you say it was Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, and who else?
No, those are the air signs.
Those were the three signs. Yeah, I think that most of the people that I know that are Libras and Aquarius and Geminis, I think they do like to read a lot. They really pay a lot of attention to different philosophies or ways of thinking.
Okay, yeah. Well, that takes us to something that the way that y'all have spoken, that takes me to my next point of view on this journey. I hope you all are enjoying yourself. Again, please feel free to ask any questions. I'll answer them as best as I can. But so far, where we've been, I want to speak on the personal energy that you all as Libras carry. And I ran across something that said this: the cardinal energy is love, being ruled over by the planet Venus. I think you all explained your point of view on how you all love and the compassion. So if y'all want to speak on that, let me know, or I'll just keep going.
On loving individuals.
Yes. Your cardinal energy of being falling under the sign Leo is love, being ruled over by the planet Venus. So
yeah, I think that the only way that you can actually ensure justice is with love. If I don't love you, I'm not going to treat you justly. Oh, forces.
That's
I think that they really go hand in hand. That's why having a court system that is not based on the spirit of the law, but only on the letter of the law, that's not justice to me. you know, that if
Say that again, Penelope.
I said a court system that is only based on the letter of the law and not the spirit of the law is not justice to me. If you know, if you have a better lawyer, if your lawyer, you'll just simply tell the better story, and the judge goes along with what your story is, opposed to how, you know, what the circumstance is and how you can better yourself. I think that that's not love. I think that, you know, our penal system that does not allow much room for rehabilitation is it's not love. I think you know, if it's only for punishment, or if it's only for monetary system, if it's only for monetary gain, that's, you know, that's not justice. So
Oh, we getting there. Oh, we're getting there. We getting there right now because
but those are the things. That's just what I think. I think that you can't I think that you can't be just if you're not paying attention to the spirit of the law. And the spirit of the law really, it really indicates that humanity within you. And you know, yeah, I mean, you know, if you have, you know, if you still have to, you know, like make amends for your crimes. Yes, that's only fair. That gives you time to learn. That gives you time to rehabilitate. That gives you time to reset. But you know, if but that's what a loving society does. A loving, just society does. So that's what I think about justice as to go along with love.
okay. So I'm gonna repeat. I'm gonna repeat that quote again because it segues in back into my other quote, which where we were saying, and then Miss Harriet. Before I do that, Miss Harriet, how do you feel? If or do you or would you like me to repeat that quote?
Repeat it.
Okay. The quote is the cardinal energy of Libras. Excuse me. The cardinal energy of Libras is love, being ruled over by the planet Venus. So how do you feel as far as and again you're Sagittarius, but how do you look at the planet as far as Venus and what you know as far as Venus or Aphrodite, however you want to say it, but the beauty of it.
It makes perfect sense because isn't Venus the goddess of love?
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense. And when you do things out of love, as Penelope said, you are going to be just in what you say. Sometimes it might not be to the satisfaction of the person that you are sending what we sometimes call tough love to, but we're doing it for the safety and well-being of the individual that we're sending this tough love to. And I mean, I don't understand how you can not be just and love at the same time, because if you don't love, you can't serve justice. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm with you. Thank you for your opinion. Definitely. Forrest, how about you? Can you hear us?
Yes. Can you tell me the question one more time, please? Thank you.
How do you feel about this quote? The cardinal
About
energy of Libras is love, being ruled over by
okay.
the
Well,
hold on, being ruled over by the
okay.
planet Venus. So that is explaining that the energy of Libra is coming from the planet Venus, for being in the sector of the planet Venus. So how do you feel about that statement?
Well, I think for me, I can connect with that 100% because I'm a loving person, and I'm just always spreading love and being loving. I'm just a loving person, so that's who I am. I am a loving person. I embrace love and I spread love everywhere I go. I'm this coming through energy of love.
Okay, yeah.
Sometimes to my detriment, but
So do,
sometimes it is what it is.
yeah. So you do feel that pull towards the planet, that planet that's in your that your sign is ruled over. Which
Yes, that's go ahead.
no, go ahead, brother. This is your show.
I think no, this is your show. This is your DNA. That's I'm a loving person, so I agree with that 100%. But sometimes when we talk about tough love, I don't think you can say the same thing is two, because if it's tough love, then it's really not love if it's tough. Sometimes you have to close the door if that's tough love. But for me, I don't think tough love is not the same.
Mm-hmm.
I don't use it. I never use tough love. Sometimes you just close the door, but I don't close that tough love. I just closing the door.
Mm-hmm. Well, here we go again, which takes me to everything that y'all said was great, and something that I was thinking while everyone was talking, I was giggling to myself a little bit. Sorry, but as Miss Harriet said, tough love. Well, that's because you're a Sagittarius and y'all don't pay attention to where y'all going. Y'all just run. But for some apparent reason, like I say, my oldest, the connection between my oldest and my mom, she can steady her through just a guy, just through grandmother love, or even sternness, or even tough love, if you want to say that. So I look at it from there, and that takes us to something that I came across, and I wrote it down, and it goes, this is with being ruled under the planet Venus, driven by a sense of fairness, they champion for justice and equality, which is why a fear of Libras is missing out. They also can struggle with indecision. So we talk about the good stuff. We'll get on y'all nerves.
But sometimes indecision requires how do I want to, a weighing of the options, which is better. It's for example, I blame those individuals back in 2016 that did not go to the polls on election day for giving us the administration that we had in our country for the next 4 years. And the reason I say that is because they couldn't make the decision as to which was the lesser of two evils. They didn't like either party, but which one did they like? Did they like more, or which one did they see as the lesser of the two evils? And to me, that's being indecisive and not really weighing things to,
Well, I do agree with you on there, but on that point of view, they knew what they was doing. They voted for where they wanted to vote for. They got what they wanted to get, and that's that.
No, they didn't vote at all. They didn't vote. I'm talking about the ones that didn't vote at all.
Yeah, understandable. Understandable.
Yeah.
but again, we're talking about signs, so we're dealing with different avenues and different people. I'm pretty sure if I ask Forrest, does he vote and does he participate in democracy, or if I ask Penelope, do they vote or participate in democracy, I'm pretty sure from what we've already spoken upon is whether they vote for whether they have to choose the lesser of the two evils, they're gonna make a point, they're gonna make a choice. You can't say that people made a bad choice. You can say that people made a bad choice, but they made a choice, no matter where, no matter however that falls. Yeah. But what I was going with was, do you feel yourself as Libras driven for that sense of fairness, and champion for that justice and equality, or do you look at it as a pawn of or just how do you look at
it? Well, I do. I think that and it is work. I was going through something yesterday, and ran across on Pluto, and ran across the old television show Soul, and they had an interview with Stokely Carmichael on, and I thought that was really, so I sat back and watched that, and everything that he was saying back then when Soul was out back what was 19, I can't remember whether it was in the late 60s or the early 70s. We're still having those experiences today, and when we think about that, when we see justice based on someone else's perspective only, or only our perspective, then that's the thing that brings in the ego. So because social justice takes so much work, you do want to see it done today. If I'm putting this much work into it, I want to see it accomplished today. I want to see now. I want things to change now. And one of the things that he was saying is that that's just selfishness. That's just ego. We know that we can't change perception. All we can do is work through the change of perception. And I thought that was some really valuable information, because you can get burned out. And just to talk about what happened in 2016, everybody it was so, and I don't necessarily blame the people who didn't vote. I really blame the media and the press by always pitting the two things together, so that it was such burnout. You had families arguing at dinner tables. You had people that separated from they had people that separated from separated their families from one another, based on somebody else's perspective, or of what you're going to get. Then you would have somebody say, okay, it's going to be all fear and doom and gloom over here, and the other side is saying, oh, it's going to be all fear and doom and gloom over here, as opposed to saying, how we as a nation, well, just to go back on earlier reporting, when they just reported the information, you didn't, we weren't necessarily reporting based on feelings. We weren't necessarily reporting on fear, or something that would grab that and make a headline, but I think that as we as so I'm trying to work myself back around to the original question. But I think that in order for us to learn how to have justice, we really have to center ourselves back to where we were, like in the 60s, where we had that summer of love, where we were talking about how to actually love your neighbor. How let's look into their lives and find out how we can learn to love them as opposed to learning how to judge them. And that's what the 60s was really kind of sort of about. You know, we would hear stories on based on poverty, so that you could, so that the rich people wouldn't just be gawkers, but they would learn they would learn how to learn the plight of the poor, and learn and understand how that affected them personally, you know. And I think that as the decades have gone by, we have lost that idea of what true love is. It's and we are basing it on either party affiliation or affiliation with, you know, some type of race or some type of culture or some type of separatism, as opposed to being united. So I think that, you know, just the hope, I'm getting back to what the original question was of, you know, equality and unity and justice, is that you know, it really is, to me, based on love and how you love one another. And to go back, you know, with where Yeshua just said, you know, you have to love your neighbor the way that you love yourself. So that shows that we have to have that self-love first. And that's the thing, that's that fulcrum, that's the thing that keeps us in balance, and our scales can be even. But if you have you know, a crooked balance, it's going to be, you know, swaying from one side to the other. You know, you'll never have, you know, even scales.
Yeah, I like that. I like that way. That's cool. Any other questions? Any other comments? Okay. Well, we spoke upon Libras and how they feel about justice and equality. How do you feel when I say the fear of Libras are missing out?
The fear of Libras are missing out? What does that mean?
One of the fears of falling under the sign Libra can be missing out. Do you feel that, or do you feel that you know, do you feel that you are missing out on certain things when it's going on? Or I mean, it's just a question.
Yeah, not me. And maybe that has to do
For
with
me,
me
no.
being,
I want to get
yeah,
back to
maybe
something
that has to do with
we
being
talk
the
about.
only child. But yeah, you know, what can I miss out on? I have everything I need.
No, I don't feel I'm missing. But I want to get back to another question with politics. You have someone now on their platform. He's saying, "God bless America." So again, sometimes I think people are using God to the detriment of people, because now they believe in a person more than they believe in God. But on his platform, he says, "God bless America," and these people are Christians, quote unquote Christians. So I think sometimes people can use the word God when it's really not the real God that they're serving.
Well, since we're kind of in that point of view, I would like to ask everyone, and I think this will be the fun part about it, if you're not having fun already,
I'm having a lot of fun if I'm standing on.
just to ask questions. Thank you, brother. To ask a question. Besides just seeing the individual scale, how does it make you feel how does it make you feel, and what are some of the visual points of view where you have seen this sign, whether in a statue, or whether in a movie, or Lady Justice, which is the one I was going to use. You know, the blind lady. She always has a sword in one hand, and she has the blindfold on, and she has the scales in the other. What throughout history, are there any things when it comes to this sign, specifically, but also Miss Harriet, definitely comment. How do you see these visions of this sign, and do you recognize them when you see certain things?
Certain things such as,
Like I said, we see the blind lady of justice.
oh, okay.
Statues or paintings or drawings throughout history or books that we've read that we hear these things, or even Armageddon, because even the gray horse, the rider on a gray horse, he's carrying scales as well.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as a visual point of view, what does that do?
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead, Forrest.
No, for me, I have a great vision for like interior design. So if I when the life coach could have been interior, so I can go into a room and say, I can change everything in your room to make your room look better. So I think I have great vision. Visually, I see things very easily, more clearly. And that's a gift that I have also, is interior design. So I can see things and change things to look better.
Okay, so you like feng shui.
Like I like feng shui, but also just more importantly is
Yeah.
the design. I have great eyes for design.
Okay, understand. Thank you. How about you, Penelope? Did you understand what I was saying, or?
Well, when I look at the symbolization of the scales, I do think that justice should be blind, because we're not perceiving things. We're leaving out our perceptions, so we can't put in our fears or our prejudices or our nepotism or any type of imbalance, so that our scales will always be balanced. And the more and more I understand tarot, and understanding that a sword, it cuts all the way through to the truth. It's just bare bone truth. It's it's that thing that where there is no room for any interpretation outside of truth. And so that your scales can still be balanced. And I think that one thing that I think that that's something that probably has I can't say it has never happened, but I think that it's rare that it happens when someone goes into a place where they have to judge a situation where where you are going in there blind. Even if I have some information on the thing, I'm leaving all of my perceptions out. And I'm going to hear the evidence on both sides, so that, and then the main purpose is to how to come up with a productive solution. And I think that most of the time when we see justice, it's because we have been so used to it being in our punitive system, we come there ready to punish. But as opposed to what justice is saying is that we're coming here to find the balance of how to make it more productive in the future. And I think that that's something that perception definitely needs to be taken out.
Okay, I'm with you all, Miss Harriet. Because I got something to say as well. But Miss Harriet, how do you feel?
Well, first of all, I see blind justice as being, or the blindfold is keeping whatever personal prejudices the person that is administering this justice out of the picture. And that's what that blindfold represents to me. That in the person that's making the call of justice, and she's holding a sword in one hand, and that sword cuts both ways. She's holding a scale in the other hand, and that scale has to be balanced. And that's the scenario that I see, or I think of, when I see blind justice, or justice blindfolded, holding that because you have to listen, not just hear, but listen to both sides of a situation, and blind of all of your own personal prejudices, come to a viable solution that is fair to both parties.
Mm-hmm. Well, that takes me to a point. I know Penn. Well, she's back. I also looked at it as far as a point of one of my favorite. Of course, I'm going Egypt. One of my favorite Egyptian deities is Anubis, and he carries the scales with to see where you would be going in your afterlife according to Egyptian history and religion. So he would put your heart on a scale, and he would put a feather on your scale. He had a crocodile dog. I don't know how he got one of them. I mean, we know that in Greek they had a 3-headed dog, but a crocodile dog lion, I don't think you really want to mess with that. But
No, I don't think so.
it can swim, run fast, and bite you. I don't want no parts of that. But he puts your heart on a scale, and he puts a feather, and your heart has to weigh less than the feather, or at least equally to the feather. Otherwise, he will toss your heart to his dog, which was called Sekhmet, and the dog will just eat your heart, and you no longer exist. So, in a spiritual realm, do you all think as Libras that in falling under this sign that you will, that this follows you, this birthright follows you throughout time, or is it just a physical part of where we are in this life?
The birthright of our how they measure the heart.
No, of falling under the sign Libra.
Oh.
Do you think that it's a birthright? I just gave another example of someone using scales in justice, but just in the afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
Do you all think that you shepherd this into an afterlife as well?
I do, because that is, I because I do believe in reincarnation, and I think that we are our souls or our spirits, or it keeps coming back here over and over again until we can learn how to get it right. I think that
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the I think just being able to have justice for one another, that it kind of relieves you of some karmic debt. The more conscious you are of somebody
Mm-hmm.
else's plight here on earth. I also think that me as a Libra, I'm able to let things go. We were, I was watching TikTok, where I get all my news and information. And this one lady, she was so angry about, I don't know, one of the leaders, or the people that we are the heroes. And all of them at some point are bad guys. They have, we see the side where they do only good. Martin Luther King was a fantastic at bringing justice, social justice, but he was a horrible husband. You know, he had women all up and down the place. The women were calling Coretta and talking smack to her, you know, but she stayed focused on the goal. You know, Gandhi, a horrible.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
But he was a horrible
Don't get him
husband as
started.
well. But you know, the way he pushed forth for justice for the Indian people to be taken out of British rule, he was good at his job. George Washington, the same thing. You know, all of these people, they were good at their jobs, and because I'm able to see that the difference with, you know, I don't have to, you know, I won't marry to none of them. So, however, whatever kind of horrible person they were to everybody else, I can still see the good in the things that they did, the things that they were glorified for. That's the thing that I see is God worthy. You know, everybody here on earth are subjected to these bodies. Everybody is subjected to these bodies. These bodies will take you through something that I'm sure each and every one of them, you know, at some point in time, they realize that if I can't be just to my wife, I'm really not for social justice. I'm sure it's somewhere in their consciousness, they didn't sleep good at night. All of them. Gandhi, Martin Luther King, you know, Mother Teresa, you know, all of these people that were actually, you know, they weren't good people, you know, in the background, you know, but on paper they look good. So you know, but I think that as you know, my birthright in being a Libra, I'm able to be detached from that. You know, I don't have to, you know, see or be hurt or harmed by any of those people on their human side. I'm able to see the God consciousness, the God part of them that came through that makes me know who they were. So
interesting. I just asked that question. I really thought about it and I would, you know, if it would be interesting to be able to, of course, like me and you can say, I ain't coming back. Not if I ain't coming back. But you're gonna have to make me. It's gonna be some pushing and shoving up there going on.
Oh, I'm hanging on. All right, nope.
Oh Lord, Penn got the blind lady sword.
I'm hanging on. I'm not coming back here. Because I mean, we are in this dualistic system. Even at the best of times, you know, I could still come back as, you know, as Hitler's dog. Who wants that? You know, you know, yeah,
what could I do to come back
might come back as you know, and be a rescue. But then again, who am I going to get rescued by? Paris Hilton? You know, you know, not saying that Paris Hilton is a bad person. I don't even know her, but you know, there were a couple of times when they had that show. What was The Real World? Can't remember the show that's her.
I don't want to be one of those little ugly dogs.
Yeah, you know, I don't want to be no rich person's lap dog who, you know, takes me around in their pocketbook and talk about people all day long, and I'm stuck hearing that. No, thank you. No, thank you.
I want to bite the mailman.
Go
ahead, Forrest.
Go ahead, Forrest.
We can't hear you. You might have to, you know, put your phone down so it can be, you know, in a still place.
Just the service. It's not the phone. It's the service.
There you go.
It's not the phone.
Yeah, go ahead.
Of course, if I came back in my afterlife, I would come back to be a judge. Because I like authority.
Oh, you want to come back and be a judge?
Yes, because I like authority. I like having some bit of control. Yes.
Mm.
But I could come back and
I
see
know I
both
don't want to
sides.
come back now.
But yeah, I think I would definitely like to come back to be a judge.
No, okay.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, and my reason for asking that question was, um, again, whether coming back or not coming back, do you see yourself taking your attributes from this sign that you fall under with you wherever you go?
In this life,
Not in this life, but in wherever, and through space and time.
uh, I think that it, me
I guess
personally,
I'm
I think it
asking.
only
I guess
matters
I'm
in this
asking
life.
like
I
I
think
guess
that,
I'm.
yeah, I think that, once I get back to the fullness, I don't, I personally don't think that anything that held me, that keeps me here, can keep me here. But I think that, but then again, I think that that's what being a Libra is that I'm able to be detached from from the consciousness that, that I was here. I think that once I'm gone from here, just be gone from here, and
Okay.
and I won't have to be, I won't have to hold on to anything that was here at the time.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well,
So.
well,
Mhm.
can you hear me? I think coming back, I like to keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back. I can come back 100 times because at the end of the day, uh, this life had me go through these trials. So the next life I would have to not go through some of those things, but I embrace coming back. I look forward to reincarnation. I
Yeah.
look at it as a celebration.
Yeah, man, you on Genghis Khan last time. I was getting in trouble now. No, just jokes aside, just lightening the mood. But definitely, I do think, for me personally, as me falling under the sign Aquarius, um, I believe that is an inner thing in me when soul or spirit or creation created what manifests this body, put me in the right place at the right time on the right day for me to be able to, um I guess I want to say it's a gift, and I want to open that gift up as much as we open our mind. I think it's a part of our, I think those, that timing that we are born and things like that play play a part of where we fall, not only just in this life on earth and this journey on earth, but where we are going to fall in a bigger journey in the cosmos. I'm not saying that we're going to grow wings and have a halo or anything like that, but wherever we decide to, um, our that energy is going, I think that our dates and our births and our timing has a point to make, because I do think it's more training to go along with this, and more knowledge to gain, from that point of view. So I think it's kind of like that. So personally, me, I enjoy being around my own sign, Aquarius. That we talk a lot. We talk a lot, and just but it depends on the conversation. We have to be stimulated by the conversation. So, um, again, like-minded people and like-minded energy, and that's why I was asking that question to say, do we carry that under? Well, would you think that we carry that part under us? Because it's such a big deal when it comes to, um, how we look at our futures, or how we do tarot, or how we do or how we do, our praying, or how we do our meditations. Even though most of us don't really look at it from a point of view like that, which is, most of us look at it, most people look at it as opening newspaper and just reading your horoscope, like we were speaking of earlier, reading your horoscope and just seeing who you're gonna fall in love with today, or what, or even worse, what sign to stay away from. I hear so many people say, "Oh, I don't like Geminis, and I don't like Scorpios, and I don't like this, that, and the fifth." Well, why? Well, because my last man was a Scorpio, and what did he do to you? He treated me like dirt. Well, you had a dirt nigga. Excuse me. But excuse me. You know, I mean, you can't blame a whole sign for the way that someone acts. You know, someone's
That's right.
actions, because they fall under this sign, does not mean that all these people that fall under this sign act like that. Now, you may have certain attributes, you know, but I don't think we, you know, but there's so many different points of views of it, you know. So I think it just depends on where you fall. So that's why I asked that question: do we carry that energy of the cosmos with us when we relinquish these bodies? Do we carry that part with us?
We didn't hear Harriet's response to that.
I don't think so. Because I feel like when we enter this earth, the sign that we are born under, and there are a lot of modifications as far as the time, the place, and all that other kind of happy stuff will determine, and also the environment that we are nurtured and grow up in has a lot to determine. So when we leave this body, we leave that body that was born under that sign here. We don't, this is my opinion, we don't take, well, this Sagittarian is not going to take me into the next life. When I go into that spiritual realm, that astral realm, I am I feel like that I will be all encompassing. And I just feel like the spiritual side of us is either going to be all good or all bad. There's no in between when we go into that spiritual realm. And as long as we're on this earth, getting back to some of the points that Penelope was bringing out, when there's nobody that walks this earth, there's only been one person that we are aware of that has walked this earth that has been perfect.
Right.
All the rest of us have some kind of dark part of us that we try to hide, and from time to time will show its face.
But again, Miss Harriet, he never said he was perfect. He never said he was perfect.
You're right.
We made him perfect.
You're right.
We made him perfect. He never said he was perfect.
Actually, he did.
Where? When? Where?
In John, he said, be ye perfect as the Father is perfect. So he counted himself as one with the Father.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, he did say he was perfect. And he says that we all are perfect. So,
exactly.
So
he never singled himself out. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
But he did, but that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. You know, he said he says for us to be perfect like the Father, and he is part of the Father. So, you know, it's just that, you know, because of our perception of perfection, we think of perfection as something individual and not as a whole. Yeah.
So yeah.
So, you know, but you know, I think that, you know, with each sign that we have, I think that, you know, because you know, it's not, you know, I mean, you know, the zodiac that we study, that I guess we're studying today, is part of what, Greek?
Is Gregorian.
Uh-huh. So, but there's every culture has a study of astrology.
Of astrology.
And
Correct.
every study in every culture, they have the same.
It's a little different.
Pretty much the same amount of signs. I
Right.
think most of them have those 12 signs, that they might call them something different, but they still pretty much have the same
constellation.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and I think that just goes to show how more connected we are than separated we are.
Mm-hmm.
And if my being a Libra, if I was looking at the Hasidic astrology, then I would understand it differently than this astrology, but I'm still be able to connect some parts of that astrology, say, to this astrology, to the Hindu astrology.
Mm-hmm.
So because we're all under the same stars.
Exactly.
We're all, we all look up to the same, to
Mm-hmm.
the same stars, and we all calculate and bridge, and none of this information that we have is new. All of it is based on however long we've been here. We might, like right now, you're saying this is the Gregorian
Well, where we're
going
speaking as
through,
far as the
but
names. As far as
that's
where
just
we're
because
speaking
the
as far
Greeks
as the names.
won a battle one time before.
Yeah. As far as where we're speaking as far as names, yes. Now, I did mention Anubis. He does have a place in Egyptian mythology where he's also a Libra. He's also the person that holds the scales, as I gave the example of the heart and the feather. It just doesn't. It's just not justice in the point of view of physical justice, because their religion did not pursue on what was going on a daily basis. They were looking towards going to an afterlife. So these are the steps that you have to go through to get through. So you see your zodiac through a physical point, looking up at it, and then when you leave, you actually go through it. So you're just here for a trial, as we all sit there and say. So it's not just where I'm speaking, or the whole conversation is just Gregorian. It's throughout the ages. It was Gregorian, it was Greek, it was Roman, it was Egyptian,
Norse.
All of them, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So somehow, some way, everybody looked up.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
everybody looks up. Yeah. Everybody looks up. Well, it's 3:30. We still got some more time. I'm thinking that we can, we got at least like 15, 20 more minutes.
Okay. Well, y'all seem very passionate on justice and that part of Libra's, and the justice part of and equality. So we can go back and talk a little bit more of that if you all would like. I think that's
Sure.
a big strength, and I do think that is a very important part of Libras, and a very good, that groundness that attracts people to you all. So we can speak on justice if you all would like to.
Sure. Yes.
Go ahead.
So where we left off, I think where we were speaking was
I thought Forrest was gonna say something.
Me too.
No, and I'm just waiting to listen to our leader.
Okay. Well, I think where we left off was we were speaking of as far as elections, and how elections have made us feel lately. So I'll let you all can go ahead and give us that point of view. Give us that point of view again from a Libra, and also I'll throw my point from Aquarius. And Miss Harriet, we know we hear you. We hear you. We hear you. You got your bow and arrow and everything out, just running through the woods like a minotaur, just tearing things up. Go. I told y'all, y'all just tear stuff up. I'm like, okay, I can follow y'all. I can follow y'all to anything. Always leave a footprint. But
Try
I
not to.
yeah, right. Y'all will have to fly. Y'all will have to grow wings.
Oh, you try that too? Oh man.
I know, because I gotta clean it up. Mine trying to do it too. So but yeah, I think our voting system, as you were saying, Ms. Harriet, I think people do need to be more knowledgeable about voting and about the law. And I think in you all's generation, you all got a point, even though that you all may have had some harsh things going on, as far as politically and racially, you know, you all, but that gave your teachers something to care about, and to teach you all the law versus you ask us. Most of us don't know the law. Most of my generation do not know the law. You know, I think a man just got like 20 years for urination in public.
Wow, I didn't get that.
Oh, come on.
Are you
That's
serious?
ridiculous. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
And, you
Someone
know,
got murdered? Where was that?
you know, no, and a little boy they sent a little boy to jail because he peed behind his mom's car.
Oh my goodness.
He had to pee. The cops came and picked and saw him peeing and grabbed him and put him in the back of a squad car, 7-year-old child. So with justice, I think Penn has froze on us too.
No, she's on mute.
With us, okay. I think with us seeing justice like that, you know, and again in our group we have 2 Libras, to see these injustices in so many different ways in politics as well, Miss Harriet, for you to be one of the vanguard to step up and be like, this ain't fair, you know. How do we correct these situations and allow us to see conversations like we're having, because we can't have conversations like this in our school. We barely can have conversations like this at the mall now.
Right.
You know, first of all, when you gave those 2 examples about those 2 individuals being incarcerated or arrested for relieving themselves, doing what Mother Nature has designed these bodies to do when it gets more than it can hold. And with a child, never mind. But the thing is, the first thing that usually that comes across my mind is, what was the tone of the skin of the person that was being arrested, and what was the tone of the skin of the person that was doing the arresting, you know? And
Right.
I grew up in the I grew up and went to school in the segregated South. And even though I grew up in a segregated society, I have always felt, I have never really stopped to think about things in black and white. I never will forget once when I was small, I was a small child, and somebody came to our house, my paternal grandmother. We lived in the home that my father grew up in, and my paternal grandmother lived there as well. And somebody came looking for her one day, and I don't know what grandma was going through at the time, but when I went to get her and told her that somebody was there to see her, the first thing she asked me was, are they black or white? And I said, oh, no. And I guess I was probably maybe about 6, 7 years old before I realized that there was a difference between black and white. Because
Mhm.
although I grew up in the segregated South, well, our immediate neighbors were all black, but we had white neighbors, in the neighborhood, in the particular geographic area that I lived in. And it was not something that my parents discussed at the time, and I don't know why they didn't, really talk about things like that. But it just, it was after I, became integrated into society, beginning at about the age of 6 or 7 when I started school, and even in my first years in school, I didn't experience that kind of thing. I mean, I knew that the the children that lived few doors away got on a different bus and went to a different school, and 1 or 2 of them were the same age as me and were in the same grade as me, but I never
Well,
really questioned.
well, I mean, colorism aside, colorism aside, uh, I do agree that justice has a point of view to do with colorism, especially in the society that we are in now,
Exactly.
and the society that we probably, can say, and that's been going on for the past 400 years. But that transition that we all continue to speak upon is that us, a collective, balancing those scales. um we hear, of course, we hear more of the negative, 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 and
Mhm.
we're prone and programmed to be afraid,
Mhm.
um through in so many different things. But are we also um witnessing the change, you know because we're winning? Positive is actually winning, and so negative is just fighting harder.
Mhm. Mhm.
you know uh, whether you speak on voting, or or colorism, or racism, or any of these things. Are we are we so busy, even though that we are open minded, and even though that we are conscious of what's going on, are we still, and we have to gather this information to know what's going on.
Yeah, we do.
Are we are we still getting that sugary diet, that we ain't supposed to be getting, and it's affecting us when we think? Because we can speak of the negative. Can anyone give a good story that has happened in the news of just a good story
Reasonably,
in the
no.
past week? In the past week, seen a cop
There,
get it. Have you seen a
we,
cop get a dog cat out of the tree? Have you seen a
No.
fireman open the fire hose a couple weeks ago because it was hot outside and let the kids play? You know,
No. Today.
you
no,
know.
because if they open the fire hose, their parents are gonna be fined because they tampered with public water. You know, they
I didn't say. What I said was not the children open the fire hose. I said the firemen. There was a time that the firemen, if we hot outside, the firemen used to come out there, open the hose for people.
exactly,
Nice.
exactly.
So you know and it's hot. So we can say the injustice. What about what we are doing as a people? what are we doing as a people to balance this scale? To keep this scale, or to show them that this scale has been imbalanced, not only just for people of our complexion, but people all around the world. How do you balance that? How do you let people know that, you know, it's gonna be it's gonna it has to balance out? I don't think that we'll ever, you know, when that I think the earth will shake us off first. You know, there's always going
I
to
think that
be
this is what
a
this earth plane is about. I think this earth plane is here
learning.
where
Yeah,
we
it's a
have that
learning
balance
experience.
of good and evil. We have that balance
Mhm.
of opposites. And
Exactly.
it's for each and every one of us to learn how to rise above the inertia of
Right.
this balance, to ascend to something higher. I think that once we do, that's the thing I think that makes us not come back here. You know, I mean, I
Mhm.
guess like you say, unless you want to. You know, if you want to keep
Unless
coming
you want
back
to.
here where there is, you know, where there is positive and negative, um, you know, because I mean, I guess I guess that's the thing that you can do. But I think that this is where we will always have that experience of positive and negative while
Mhm.
we're here. I think that, you know, um, as we develop spiritually and as we mature spiritually, I think that we mature in this place where we are um, making a choice to where we go, you know, which side we gonna choose. You
Mhm.
know, and sometimes the lines are blurred because there is, you know, they run into each other. You know,
Mhm.
do you lie to say that there, you know, there are no Jews upstairs? You know, and when you know that there's a Holocaust going on, I mean, that's, you know, you're doing the good, but you know, there's a penchant of
Price to
evil
pay.
out there.
A
You
price to
know,
pay.
and
Yeah.
so I think that we, when we choose to rise above the um yeah, like the inertia, the thing that holds us bound to this level of consciousness. I think that, you know, when we rise, you know, when we make the choice to rise above that and to stay above that, you know, I think that this is one of the reasons that when you get to a certain level, you don't stay here anymore. I don't think that you can. You know, that's why Jesus said that we can live here forever. You know, you don't have to die here, but you know, while you're here, these are going to be you know, there is the poor will always be with you. You know, and
Mm-hmm.
it's how we approach people with love, and it's how we approach ourselves with love, and it's how we it's what is it's our choice as to how we rise above, if we choose to rise above. And you know, I think that some of the systems are so um, easily dominated by one level or another level. You know, I think that it's really hard, you know, forgive me for us, to be a good judge and to stay a good judge. The system itself is really uh dominated with pressure of, you know, of being negative, because people who like authority like to be there, you know, um, and you know, people who like authority like control, you know. So you know, you might be that one good judge, but the 750 people that you know, the other 750 judges that you know, are on a take, biased, focused by their, their preconceived notions. So it can be difficult, to rise above that. And I think that each and every one of us, as and you know, just to hear people say that, yeah, I want to come back here. I think that's I think that's a noble thing. You know, when I hear that, you know, that you want to come back here and be around these people, where this place where there is a choice between good and evil, and people can choose evil and live in evil, you know, hey, that's a wonderful, wonderful attribute, you know. And you know, maybe that's where I was in the last time. Maybe I was there and I said, yeah, I want to come back. I want to come back here because I believe that, you know, people don't have to be evil. But I think that this is the school that we're in. We're in this school where, you know, there's so many things that are based on materialism that um, we have to find that complete balance in, you know, and we have to understand that everybody is not going to be a part of that balance. But
Yes.
you have to have as much evil as you have as much good in order for it to be a balance. Other than that, it's not going to be a balance. It will be
Without, yeah, and without evil, how do we know what's good?
yeah. So, you know, and you know, I think that as society grows, that's one of the things that I do like say about TikTok. You know, because now everybody has a camera, and those people who are for social justice, when they do see somebody that, you know, is being uh, unjustly tried or unjustly handled, they can put pressure on that system, and to so to keep the scales balanced.
Look at what look at the result of George Floyd's death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is,
but
there was an injustice there, and it led to Black Lives Matter. The outgrowth of that was, you know, Black Lives Matter, which is doing a good thing, a positive thing to help and bring about justice, especially for people of color who have been unjustly persecuted and punished, or I should say the punishment that has been given, that has been meted out to them, has been very unjust. Andre just mentioned a couple, little boy having to relieve himself, and that man that got 20 years because he relieved himself.
But again, you know, all that is definitely wrong, miscalculated. It's done from that point of view. But the lady is blind. You know, but the lady is blind.
No.
So as far as the law, as far as the word of the law, it's
the
blind.
letter of the law.
The blindfold to me represents being able to look at the situation from both points of view, and not let your individual prejudices play into what you finally decide is the right thing to do.
But again, you have 12 jurors of your peers. So the lady does not have the power. The peers, your 12 jurors of your peers. So the lady, that Libra, is the only person in the courtroom that is backing you. Those 12 jurors of your peers are your Zodiac right there, looking down upon you. Everybody in the mom, from every shape, color, creed, or you know, it's a point of view of that. Now, that's me speaking just on that point of view like that, because I'm trying to keep it on the Zodiac, and as well as speaking law and how that affects us. it's just the way that it was shaped and the way that it was formed is shaped and formed because of what these people saw in the constellations in so many different parts of history, and name these certain constellations, and also saw how they moved around throughout time, and said, okay, this is how we're going to build a society. There was no lights. I mean, we can go down the alien path. We can go down the alien path. We can go there. But even
actually we can't. It's 3:52.
Yeah. But I'm just saying we can go down there another time. But even what we read from the book of Enoch, 12 makes a point. We're dealing with him being in a different realm at this point in time, being instructed by different beings who do certain different things in so many different ways. Some drink from knowledge, some from the well of knowledge. Some do this, some do that. Some are here, some are there. So it's a hierarchy either way. So we are gifted to be able to look up and interpret when you get a chance to interpret what's going on in the heavens, and we can go into that meditation. So I just want to, well, this is my round table too. I just want to thank you all, Miss Harriet, of course, and Penelope and Forrest. I just want to thank you all for trusting me especially you two, for trusting me to do a quick session on your signs, because it's funny. I'm an Aquarius, but I identify with you all so much, with you, my mom, my cousins. I have a lot of Libras around me, and I'm grateful for that.
Thank you. Well, that leads us into our roundtable session. So, who wants to go next? What did we get from this session today, and how can we apply it to our lives?
I can go next.
Okay.
I have a million questions.
We're gonna get you, Sagittarius. Just wait till November. Get you. Make sure I get you.
Okay. But today's session has raised a million questions, and when I say that, I don't mean it literally, but it has raised a number of questions for me. And I can't wait for Andre to get into the sign of Sagittarius and pull it apart like we did today, and to give me a better understanding. And I thank you so much for doing this. It has really been a fun session.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Well, this is something that we can incorporate at the beginning of each sign to bring in an understanding of that sign. It doesn't have to be for anybody's birthday or not. It's just to be able to understand who our brothers are and our sisters are, who is our neighbor, so that we can love more easily and more better.
Exactly.
If we understand.
Yeah, we have that understanding.
Thank you. Well, I can go next. What I got from today's session, I think is okay. What I got from today's session, it's really valuable in understanding yourself. It's so important in getting to know yourself in all of our multi-layered, through every layer of our consciousness, through how we think, through what our actions are, what we do, and in our hopes, dreams, and goals. If I understand myself better, I can love myself better. Once I love myself better, then it's easier for me to love somebody else and to be fair to somebody else and to help somebody else. So yeah, I think that this is something that would be good if we had at the beginning of each each what you call it? Is it cusp? What's the word?
No.
At the when the transition,
beginning
yeah,
of
the
the-
cusp, on the cusp of the,
Mhm.
or the
Okay.
first,
Upperclass.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, at the at the beginning of each, at the cusp of each zodiac, for us to to have a session like this, so that we can to benefit. I think that will benefit us. So yep.
Mhm.
So that's my round table. What about you, Forrest?
To be
We can't hear
better
you.
and different. Can you hear me now?
Go
Yep, there you
ahead.
go.
I said what I got out of the group is to look at my sign for the good and the bad and work on the bad. That's what I learned out of the group today, to work on the bad, make it good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to even up those scales, even up those
Mhm.
scales. Absolutely.
Those scales,
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, well, that's it for today. Tomorrow we're gonna um we're gonna end our session of the Kabbalah. And then we will, and so that's it for that'll be it for that final segment of September, that final segment of September. Then next Saturday we will go into our movie time. I'm so excited about that. We will have that at Sandra's house. It's going to be from 2 until we finish. Probably, we said I'm giving it from 2 to 5, 2 to 6, however long it's going to be there, however long we will be there. Bring your own snacks, bring your own food, and we're going to be watching the movie When Dreams May Come, What Dreams May Come, with Cuba Gooding Jr., Robin Williams, and Annabella Scorsese. I still haven't looked her name up, so I know I'm murdering it every time I try to say it. I know I'm saying it wrong, but it would be it. So I really, and that's and as I can recall, that is a story about reincarnation.
reincarnation.
Yeah, so that's going to be a great movie. We're going to have lots of fun. It'll be fun for us to get together, hang out with one another, and just to have just to have some community time. And we still have October that's kind of open. We got our regular things that happen, once during the week. We have our Course in Miracles from excuse me, on Wednesdays from 5 to 6:30. On Thursdays, we have 2 activities. We have the I am in the morning from 11 to 12, and flight in the evenings from 7 to 8:30. And those are the continuous things that we have on a monthly rotating basis. So that's it for today. Unless anybody has any questions, comments, or concerns, or anything. That's it. Well, one thing I do know that Harriet and I are working on, because we will be finishing up with the chakras. Once we finish this next month, we will be finishing up with the 7th chakra. Well, then after that, we will begin our series of holistic healing chakras, where we're going to incorporate all that holistic sessions that we were having, where so we're going to incorporate all of our modalities along with healing, along with the chakras, and so that would be with our holistic healing session.
All right.
And that's it. So would anyone like to close us out in prayer?
I'll go ahead and take it.
Okay, go ahead.
Again, Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to come together in so many different fashions, in so many different ways of being alike, under so many different signs, under so many different stars, under so many different times, and allow us to unify and understand one another and express from your Akashic record of what life is and how to explain it and how to understand it and how to enjoy it and how to benefit from it. With these things we pray. Peace and blessings. And happy birthday to all the Libras in the house. Yay!
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so
you.
much.
All righty, everybody. Love you.
Love you
Well, this was a
all.
great session today. Thank you. I had
It
a great
was.
time. This is really, really good.
Thank you. Peace and blessings.
Peace
And
and
blessings,
blessings.
everybody. Bye.
Bye.